Hey everyone, just wanted to give you all a quick update of the progress that I made since I made the last video. I had the miniatures all finished and completed. Figured now I'd just take time to show you what terrain pieces I've been able to work on. So the battlefield that I'm going to be making, at least for this first battle, is pretty simple. I don't have to worry about any hills, but I do have trees, do have a town, and do have a field, plus roads and rivers and stuff like that. So first thing I have here is I have this field that I made. It's made on top of plastic card, cut some plastic card out, and then put some felt. It wasn't corduroy cloth, but it had rows in the cloth, so I used that to make it look like plowed fields, and then used some of the shake ground flock to kind of put vegetation on the rows, and then surrounded the field with clump foliage to represent hedgerows, since according to the map that's what that's supposed to be. So there's my hedgerow field of whatever crop that we want to pretend that it is. And then I do have some trees, even though this isn't going to be all the trees that I need. I actually need a whole bunch more, since I do have a couple of large forested areas on the battlefield. So these are basically just the Woodland Scenics armatures. Mounted them on a metal washer, give it some weight, put some static grass on that to kind of hide the base. And then did some airbrushing base coat, and then did some brown, and then a quick hit of light gray to give it a little bit of a highlight, and then did some clump foliage with the like a light green ground flock out of the shaker can to kind of give it a little touch of highlight there. These trees are probably a touch on the large size for the scale for 15 millimeter, but I went with them. First of all, I needed trees. The trees that I did have were too small for 15 millimeter, but they'd be perfect for 6 millimeter, so weren't going to work. So these are the only trees they had in the store. So I grabbed these, and I figured they will work, especially if they're in the middle of the forest. They can kind of give that feeling of, unevenness that forests tend to have. So I do need to get a couple extra packages. Although the next sets of packages, I'll probably go with the next size smaller, so that way I can get a little bit more variation in the trees. Then I have these couple of buildings. In the previous video I mentioned I was going to paint a Native American longhouse. I think I'm going to forego painting the Native American buildings for now. The original battlefield that I had a medium-sized village and then a small village, and I was thinking of making the small village a Native American village. But kind of cramps up the battlefield a little bit, since I'm going to have to shorten it down from an 8-foot table to a 6-foot table. So I'm going to omit the smaller village and then just fill it with these buildings here. These are 15 millimeter buildings from Stone Mountain Miniatures. I think it's from their AWI line. Although I did think when I get that order, I did get a couple of 10 millimeter buildings in there, which I think this is what this is. Although I figured I could use it as like a smokehouse or something along those lines. So I figured, even though it's a little smaller, we could probably still make it work. So painted those, I think last week is when I finished them up. And then finally I did get my roads from Fat Frank's in. And I haven't unboxed every single one of them. I just took a couple pieces out and really like them. Really well made. And they fit perfectly for my miniatures, width-wise. And then the rivers also look really nice as well. And the battlefield originally had a bridge. It was supposed to have a bridge, but I think I'm going to forego the bridge and just get the use this ford here to represent the river crossing, and say to heck with the bridge. I'll worry about the bridge later. So yep, that's the progress so far. So there we go. I think the only thing that I have left to do besides making additional trees is I also want to make like a forest ground cover. I've got some brown felt, and I figured I'd kind of paint that up with different colors, kind of dirty it up, make it look like broken terrain or whatever the case may be. Not really sure how I'm going to go about doing that. If anybody has any suggestions on that, I'd really like to hear what you guys recommend or what you have all done for forest floor type areas. More importantly, the whole purpose is just to denote the boundaries of the forest, so that way you can tell when you're in the forest and when you're not in the forest. So otherwise, the idea would be to just to put the individual tree markers on top of that ground portion. So that's the only other thing I have to work on. And then from that, I'll just be ready to start getting some battles on and doing some videos of battle reports and stuff. So thanks again for watching this video. And again, any recommendations or suggestions, especially with regards to that forest covering, really appreciate it. Happy gaming. Have a good day.